wanna know what the weak point of a mech is? The fucking pilot.
Get away from her, you bitch!
His papers say he was a raven.
Protocol 3.
A pattern blue!
Welcome to On the Shoulders of Giants, a giant robot power hour discussing mechs across media, their stories, and why we love them. I'm Niko, and I'm joined by Alice.
Of all the things I've seen on the battlefield of the frontier, the pilot is the true dominant force. Fast and agile, graceful, yet devastating. Perceptive, resourceful, and relentless. A pilot sees the world differently. Shear walls become flanking routes. Pilots fight differently, experiencing deception and maneuvering. Even overwhelming odds shift in their favor. But what truly separates a pilot from all the grunts and the machines of the battlefield is the bond between a pilot and a Titan. When linked to a Titan, a pilot can get as many uppies as they want.
And then Brian.
You're in a car with a beautiful boy, and he won't tell you that he loves you, but he loves you. And you feel like you've done something terrible, like robbed a liquor store, or swallowed pills, or shoveled yourself a grave in the dirt, and you're tired. You're in a car with a beautiful boy, and you're trying not to tell him that you love him, and you're trying to choke down that feeling, and you're trembling. But he reaches over and he touches you, like a prayer for which no words exist, and you feel your heart taking root in your body, like you've discovered something you didn't even have a name for.
I'm glad you didn't modify it like in any way. You just read the Richard Sykin poem into the mic.
Yeah, that was not, I did not write that. That was You Are Jeff by Richard Sykin, by the way. People should read his poetry.
We're normal.
Oh my god, this intro is gonna be bizarre. Okay. Yeah, hello my friends. This time around we're discussing the inherent homoeroticism of being held in the big, beautiful hand of a mech. Titanfall 2. Let's launch into it.
Up front, we're going to be perverted about this.
I put a note. There's a note further down in this document before we get into the section where I just write, we're not going to be normal. Just like a heads up. We're going to be bad about this.
Heads
one,
up,
y'all.
this one's really bad. It's the spring of Yowie.
It's literally the spring of Yaoi.
Fujoshi's rejoice. We finally have Yowie on the pod.
I frequently am just like logging into the OSG accounts and being like, Fujoshi's rejoice. Okay, so we are talking about Titanfall 2, which was produced in 2016 by Respawn Entertainment and published by Electronic Arts. How Long to Beat reports about 6 hours to finish it, which feels right. This is a single player campaign for a game that most people spent more time in the multiplayer mode of. Which, yeah, isn't super surprising because Respawn's founders, Jason West and Vince Zampella, created the Call of Duty franchise. They created the studio and then were at the helm when Call of Duty was created. So they obviously brought a lot of experience in multiplayer games to Respawn's debut, which was Titanfall 2014, which is kind of wild to me because, like, imagine your debut game isn't like, I don't know, there's an evil toilet. It's Titanfall. But I guess that makes sense. So Titanfall 2 is a little different because they developed a single-player campaign for this one, and it was interesting reading about it. The team was inspired by a lot of mech media, but they specifically name-checked, and I'm like 90% sure Alice has seen this one. They specifically name-checked Gargantia on the Virtuous Planet.
A fucking banger that I love.
Unfortunately, the game did underperform commercially in spite of like getting a bunch of great reviews and many award nominations. The team supported it for a while afterwards with DLC content, and the multiplayer servers are still online. If you can't access them when you boot your game, check Reddit for guides, because it was very funny. Every time I was like, is that true? Like, I'm going to fact check this. They were like, okay, if it seems like they're offline, you need to deal with an Intel hardware issue. But that is fixable.
They're online in the sense that they're likely inhabited by like 12 people who've been playing for like the entire run of the game, and so you'll like log in and immediately get annihilated 500 times. It's not for all intensive purposes. It is no longer around in like a meaningful way. I would say.
Don't talk bad about the 12 people I've been playing with since 2016.
Alice is like, we're a normal amount of sweaty. We're not super sweaty.
Anyway, gamers don't deserve to have anything nice.
Yeah, that's kind of the theme of my next little bit here. One thing to note is that Respawn was fully acquired, no longer as a publisher, but fully acquired by Electronic Arts in 2017.
Boo!
So this does seem to have been conducive to some successful titles. They made the Star Wars Jedi games, Fallen Order, and what was the second one?
Survivor, Fallen Order, and Survivor. Yeah.
Yeah. So they made those, which I played the first one. Yeah,
I played the fuck out of both of those games. They're pretty good. The second one they're both good. They're both good games. Like they're not incredible, mind-blowing, life-changing. They're just good.
Yeah. And then, of course, there's the free-to-play Battle Royale hero shooter. I love to say many words. Apex Legends, which is set in the same universe as the Titanfall games. But there have been big layoffs at both EA and Respawn specifically in 2023, 2024. They don't bode well for like a Titanfall 3.
We haven't covered a video game in a while, have we?
No.
The industry is actively collapsing, like in real time, in front of our eyes.
Niko, correct me if I'm wrong, but while this was reviewed heavily well and people loved it, it did terrible in sales, right?
Yep.
Yeah, commercially it really underperformed, which is like, apparently it came out at this like the same time in the same release window as Battlefield 1 and Call of Duty Infinite Warfare, which like, I maybe would have like pushed it or maybe dropped it earlier.
Which is crazy because those other games didn't do that well in terms of the review, and just by virtue of existing in the fucking space,
gamers are bad.
Well, and there's a funny fact we'll touch on later, but like it was also going up against some heavy hitters in the single player space, like not long after. So like, I mean, they were on a 2-year development cycle, which remember those?
When we get to the multiplayer part, I'll talk more about why I think this didn't grasp a larger audience. But I think it's very interesting that a lot of people are like, well, it's because they did a single player campaign. And I don't think that that's it, because the first one had a narrative to it, and Apex Legends has no narrative. Okay, there's a narrative. It sucks. And I think it really is just the gameplay of the multiplayer, but we'll talk about that later.
So Titanfall 2 continues in the same universe as Titanfall 2014, and it was followed by a few unsuccessful canceled projects with the same IP. The most notable one was a top-down real-time strategy game called Titanfall Assault. I say that's the most notable because it launched.
Fucking rips.
I should have known Alice played it, like, obviously.
I was so excited for anything new, and then I don't know if you've... that's a mobile game.
It's a mobile game. It launched, I believe, in 2017.
It's so cartoonish.
Yeah, it launched in like 2017 or 2018 and then closed immediately the year after.
This is a microcosm of what happens to these games, right? Like you have this game that's like by all accounts like virtually for what it's trying to do and like what it came here to do and what it wanted to accomplish, it 100% like nailed every facet of it. But then it was basically stripped for parts because it didn't perform in XYZ categories according to whatever like strictures the publisher sets for it or whatever. The hard stance of this podcast is that Electronic Arts should burn.
Yeah, I will agree with that. I do think we've seen this kind of across media. Like it's a lot harder to release kind of a mediocre movie in theaters. Whereas if you go back to like the 2000s, but like especially a little bit before that, they were making whatever the fuck movie. Like if you could scrape a script together in a production company in North Carolina, you could make Maximum Overdrive. Like you could make whatever. And nowadays it's like, okay, did your project get the right attention? Does it seem like it will test well in certain markets? Like, will it do, you could still do indie projects, but it's harder. And I feel like that same kind of dichotomy is apparent in game space. It's like either you have like super indies or you have like AAA, but that in between space is kind of.
I think we've been seeing in the news lately too that like that we have been treading water on the test group methodology for a long time now, and it is no longer producing feasible results, I don't think.
Look, I'm a big proponent in the film space of getting us back into the solid B movie category, and I put Titanfall 2 as a solid B game.
Yeah, like and there's nothing wrong with that, because here's the thing. This is another OSG official stance. If you are making something, make it for the 3 sickos who it will change their life, and
Yeah,
no
dude.
one else.
Hell
Just
yeah.
drop it.
Yeah, dude.
That's us.
That's me. We're the 3
Yeah, it's
sickos.
us. It's literally us.
We're perverts about this.
We're your 3 perverts. But anyway, so there were a couple of other failed projects. The one that got me was there was supposed to be a collectible card game. I'm like,
Guys,
Just throw in. Hey, what will squeeze money out of consumers? Just throw the IP at that. That's it.
yeah.
Jesus Christ.
and they didn't choose to do was Gunpla. Like, what the fuck are you
I
talking
know.
about?
Do you know how carefully
So
and
stupid.
lovingly I would assemble BT? You don't even understand. But yeah, so Apex Legends takes place in the same universe, but it doesn't do anything with Titans. So I mean, it's like if you're desperate for contact with the props of Titanfall 2, you can play Apex
It's just there
Legends, I
for
guess,
hot
but-
ladies to have guns.
As the Apex Legends correspondent, you
Thank
don't need
you.
to play Apex Legends.
Thank you for your service in the field.
They're killing it. It's dying. They killed anything good about it. Sorry,
No, just I want to get more into that. I just so Respawn apparently added this iconic single player campaign we'll be discussing to Titanfall 2 to try and expand the player base for the game, inviting in people who like having friends but don't like those friends knowing they're a gamer, aka me, Niko. You social chads, did you play the Titanfall 2 multiplayer, and if so, what was that like?
Alice goes first. I always forget.
Alice may go only.
Yes, I played. We'll talk about it. I played a shitload of Titanfall 1, which was pretty much strictly multiplayer. But Titanfall 2, I played a ton of the multiplayer because it was so fun. It had a fun community, especially at launch and in the months following. And it was the perfect bite-sized game.
That's a good segue to what did y'all know about Titanfall 2 before we went to cover it?
Brian, did you play the multiplayer at all?
No, I mean, just going into what I knew about Titanfall in general.
Yeah.
I know I was working at Best Buy when this game came out, and so like it was everywhere in front of my face. The only anecdote I have, it sounds so douchey because it is, which is just to say that like the people who were telling me this game was really good and that I should play it were the people in my life who like loved Battlefield and loved Call of Duty. And so my first thought was just like, okay, well, it's one of those. So like, I am so glad my acquaintances are having fun, but it is very much likely not for me. I was so fucking wrong. I'm such a fucking idiot. I've never been stupider about something else in my life.
You can never know. There have been so many movies people have recommended me where I've been like, I'm not interested. And then I finally watch it 6 years later and I'm like, y'all motherfuckers heard of this movie? And they're like, yes, we have. Obviously we have. Thanks for that.
So my story is I played a crap ton of the first one with friend of the pod, Terminal Saint, and got really perverted dirty into that one because it just slapped so egregiously. I realize why we're covering Titanfall 2 and not Titanfall 1, but it does hold a special place in my heart. This was a day one purchase for me, Titanfall 2. I had to get it the minute it came out, and I called out of work to play the campaign, and as the sun came up and I got to the ending of this game, I went outside and I had a couple of smokes and just watched the sunrise and considered life. And then I went and played the multiplayer until I passed out. So this game means a lot to me, and I played a shit ton of it.
That's beautiful. I love the idea of just being like, I gotta go smoke for BT.
I was going through some shit in my life at the time that I played this game, so I just was like, I gotta go outside and smoke and consider BT.
We'd be considering BT on the podcast.
I am contemplating BT. So the funny thing for me is, like, I was kind of in the same boat as Brian, where it's like, I kind of, like, I had been hearing for a long time. I was not around at launch. I wasn't really aware of it at launch, but I had been hearing for a long time that this was a really good game. And, like, it had a single player mode. Because as I mentioned, like, I am that bitch. I don't play a lot of multiplayer stuff. I mostly play single player games. Arcane fully owns my ass, like many people. That's the kind of space I was in. And so this has been recommended over and over and over. And when we decided to start this podcast, it was one of the first things I thought of, which, this will be a good excuse for me to finally play Titanfall 2. And it was, and I'm grateful, but also, this game is so my shit, it's embarrassing.
It's embarrassing.
I just went radio silence. I went offline. I played this on my PS5 instead of on Steam because I have a PS5.
Great controller game.
It's fantastic. Like, it was really good. I just went radio silence because I knew if I started saying anything about this game to my friends casually, I would start a podcast in whatever channel I spoke of it, and we have a podcast.
I ran screaming. Shout out to August, who hosts Follow the Leader. That's another way. Well, I'll plug that podcast anytime. People should listen to that. But I ran to them. I like sprint. I was like, August, please help me. Please, I'm dying. I'm begging. I
was just doing that solo because I was like, I have to get it into the mic.
I also streamed my experience ending the game to Scribe Ghost. It wasn't enough to be on mic with Ghost. I simultaneously ran to August and started typing furiously.
6 hours. 6 hours of your life. Literally, like, I need to say it right now.
People should play it if you haven't.
This game is frequently on sale. Like, on Steam, on whatever your platform is, wishlist it, wait for a sale. When you get that notification, pull the trigger. It's usually like $5.
It's like a short story version of a video game, and it is a really well done one. It does exactly what it wants to do. It gets in, it gets out.
It also really benefits from the first time play. So I will say, like, I say it even though we don't need to, you really should play this before listening to this if you have any interest in it, because it's so good. And then listen to the rest of the podcast. We'll wait. Welcome back.
It's been 6 hours.
Yeah, time skips 6 hours ahead.
Also, on Game Pass for free. So throwing that out there if you have a Game Pass subscription.
Yeah.
If you have Game Pass, like...
Unfortunately, you do have to give EA some of your information. I don't know if you guys on Steam had to do that.
Yes, you do.
Yeah, they make you go through it.
Every time I press play on a game that I bought on Steam and the fucking EA Play program comes up, I seethe. I cannot believe that is a mechanic that's happening. I bought it on Steam for a reason. If I wanted to fucking play it on EA Play, I would have bought it from EA Play. Oh my God. Anyway.
But we need your data.
It's worth knowing, like, it breaks older games and they haven't fixed it for many of them. If you own any of the Dragon Age games on Steam, it doesn't fucking matter if you want to play them on a different thing. For the most part, you'll run into a DLL error or it'll try to boot this, and like, it makes it extremely difficult to play games.
Electronic farts is what I'm saying.
Fuck EA.
Fuck EA.
Yeah,
so we waited for 6 hours for people to play this video game. What did they just experience?
Okay, this is what they just experienced. In the far future, a war is raging between factions in a contested space frontier. On one side is the Interstellar Manufacturing Corporation, IMC, which is resource hungry and doesn't care what extraction and exploitation do to settlers on the planets in their sights. On the other side is the Frontier Militia, a resistance movement that wants to expel, we're all saluting, a resistance movement that wants to expel the IMC from the frontier. While the IMC is extremely well supplied, the militia makes up some ground by fielding well-trained pilots and their mechs, called Titans, against IMC's own. In the middle are the Apex Predators, a mercenary company of Titan pilots who work for the highest bidder, meaning right now they're in IMC's pocket until the end of their contract. You play as Jack Cooper, a rifleman in the militia who's been getting off-the-books pilot training from his mentor, Captain Ty Lastimosa. I am also saluting, RIP, thank you for your service. After both are deployed to a mission on the planet Typhon and encounter heavy resistance from the IMC and Apex, Lastimosa is killed and with his final breath entrusts his Titan, BT-7274, to Cooper. Damaged Titan, I'm saluting again. We're just going to be saluting a bunch in this episode, be aware.
The true heroes.
The true heroes of the frontier. Damaged Titan and largely untrained pilot must depend on each other as they gather resources, battle hostile forces, and navigate many perils on Typhon to regroup with militia forces, trying to complete an important mission. As the story unfolds, Cooper and BT discover the IMC have found strange technology that they've put into a super weapon, which would completely destroy the malicious homeworld. They have to struggle and sacrifice nearly everything to secure the frontier's future. But maybe this story doesn't have as sad an ending as it seems.
Wow.
Wow.
And with that, we will go to break. Hey, Niko here in the break. Just wanted to let you know that while this is a podcast, and we'll always do our best to describe visuals we're commenting on, we'll also include links to the mechs and images we discuss in the show notes, and post actual photos on our show website. Along with that, make sure to check the show notes for content warnings as appropriate to the episode. That's all for now. Back to the show. I can't believe Morse code saved my life. The official stance of the OSG podcast. Sorry, guys, we're just making up for like a lack of the few episodes. The official stance of the OSG podcast is that everyone should learn Morse code.
Or just be on mic with Ghost when you complete this game so that they can explain that to you, because otherwise I never would have known.
Be on mic with Ghost. Oh, yeah. So my first note I had was get it on Steam, get it on whatever you need to play it on.
Just do it.
My second note is, sorry.
I have a call out post to post on the pod with my voice.
Please post your call out post
audibly.
We're just doing posts.
Also from Follow the Leader MK, who somehow hasn't finished this game. I don't know if they're not aware that it's 6 hours, but please, we're begging.
MK, if by the time this episode drops, MK, this is a call out. We're gonna drop some other names. Greg, Sarah, Ahmed, if you're listening, this is a call out.
Our one Lithuanian listener, I'm talking to you.
Finish Titanfall.
Finish Titanfall 2. It's not long. But I need to say I'm sorry. The Yowie goggles are on.
I'm not sorry.
On. I know why objectively the game's subtitle is Become One, but like this crew is going to be on one and you should be prepared.
On the one hand, I can't do it with Matt Mercer like in this day and age. Like there's like a way that like voice acting is just in this weird space right now where it's like I will hear the one of the three people that is in every fucking thing imaginable and just kind of roll my eyes. I can't help it. On the other hand, this is this.
I googled it. Was like, oh, that's why that sounds familiar.
This is the second time a Matt Mercer character has swallowed my life in Yaoi. The first one I won't talk about.
Rest in peace.
But I just like can't. I can't do it anymore.
Someone has to stop.
Someone has to stop him.
I mean, they're doing exactly what they set out to do with Jack Cooper as a character. He is kind of a cocky pilot in a way that kind of works. I just, in 2016, Matt Mercer was unique and new.
It's true.
That's all I'm reminding myself of.
No, I know.
That's
that's a fair thing to point out. It is from 2016. He wasn't, Critical Role was happening, but he wasn't like,
Just to talk about the VAs, first off, Glenn Steinbaum, who does BT, like his only credited real role, and good God.
He was Earl in Starfield, okay?
We'll talk about why Starfield is a bad game later.
As we usually do.
Glenn Steinbaum doing a great Peter Cullen impression. I love BT. I love BT's voice. This is a great performance. All-timer. 10 out of 10.
A lot of the voice actors for this is kind of all they did. However, I'm going to talk about DEI. I think one of the good things that DEI has done is getting people of ethnicities to voice characters of those ethnicities. What a white cast we have.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, but don't worry, we got the most this connects really well. We got the most backwards ass representation, and thank God, because I know Brian needed this. If you look up a picture of Jack Cooper, don't, because he looks like he works at Subway. Like, don't see the face. It's
Did you watch
Did
Did you watch the credits?
Yes, I did, but like,
so
don't.
painful. What a piece of shit. I hate Barney from Blue Shift. That one's for Ghost.
Yeah, like, he looks like whoever the fuck, but apparently in interviews, they're like, yeah, he looks Caucasian, but we had the idea that he might be like a blend of races, and we were definitely thinking of a little Benicio del Toro.
No.
This is Barney from Half-Life 2 telling you that you shouldn't trust... Okay. Yeah, no, this is... Okay. Anyway.
So just think about that, Brian, just some little representation. I read that sentence and I was like, what the fuck are you talking about?
So let's start our 3-hour podcast.
Let's start
and
it.
go over what happens in this game, piece by piece.
We got to make sure that we record for longer than the game is if you play extremely efficiently. So I broke this down kind of in order of levels. So I grouped the first two because there's really not a lot to them. So the first two kind of levels you go through are the Pilot's Gauntlet and the level called BT-7274. So this is your VR tutorial, and then it's your initial deployment to Typhon through the death of Lastimosa and BT linking to Cooper. So any thoughts on this early section, y'all?
I got 58 seconds. What did you guys get?
Oh, I don't know what my time was. I did pretty bad though, because I fell on the ground at one point and had to walk all the way back up. It was pretty brutal. My comment on this first run up is just that I think they're doing a lot to make the Titans move very fluidly and very humanly, which is really good. I like the humanization of when Lastimos is dying, it looks the evocation is that BT is puking him up, which is cool.
Yeah.
Also, gotta give a shout out. The way that Lastimosa embarks with BT is just, he puts out his little hand. We're being gently handled by Mechs today.
There's going to be a lot that we say about the hands of Mechs. Just prepare yourself for that.
Big yaoi mech hands.
Big yaoi mech hands.
Yeah, I really liked the VR tutorial. I liked that they immediately, they knew who the fuck they were messing with, because yeah, the Gauntlet does have a leaderboard and you can work on your times. I did not do well initially, because obviously I'd never played this game before.
Yeah,
but,
can we talk about let's talk about the main traversal mechanic of this game, which is very important. So when you're in pilot mode, aka not in my beautiful baby boy,
you're playing
BT,
Mirror's Edge. When you're not,
you're playing Mirror's Edge with guns.
Yeah.
So the main traversal mechanic is running on walls.
Yeah.
yeah.
That's it. You're running on walls. It's a lot of bouncing. You get a double jump. So much of this is a jumping puzzle.
The floor is lava.
And that sounds like a joke, but there are several levels where the floor is lava.
But it generally doesn't it doesn't force you to engage with, you can just slowly walk everywhere, but the level design in this is so curated. That's what I want to say. It is so specific. We don't have yellow paint yet. It hasn't been invented in video games. But
there
we
are
do
some yellow
have,
stripes.
No, we absolutely have yellow
lighting.
paint. This may be the start of yellow paint, but we absolutely have yellow paint.
But there are this game, besides the lighting effects and the yellow paint, there are different ways. Everything can be gripped as a running surface, which is very fun.
That's true.
Yeah.
I will never not get used to running around a corner and there's just 3 IMC guys down there, and I think I panic more than them when I see them. Because I'm like, oh shit, I gotta kill these guys.
That feels realistic, though.
It feels great to play. Ghost and I were talking about it. This does feel like one of the better Call of Duty games in terms of how does it feel to shoot gun? How does it feel to run? I think this is... Oh, go ahead, Alice.
What was that? I think it was called... Was it Brink? That was it was supposed to be the next generation shooter with traversal mechanics. That people were like, oh my god, you can slide and lock onto cover and everything. This is the promise of Brink realized. Yeah, by people who really know how to make shooting a gun feel incredible. Lots of these guns are crazy. Lots of these guns have insane reload animations too. Insane mechanics. They have drawbacks. They have benefits. You really can just they're all little special, and we'll go through each and every one of them one by one as I tell you about why I love them.
I love Alice. First of all, I want to say, funniest shit on earth, imagining someone being like, I need to maximize my time with BT. I will not be wall running. I am walking everywhere. I'm turning this into a 50-hour game.
Well, it was
Like,
funny
we're
because
walking
when
everywhere.
Alice was streaming, like her, she was doing the traversal mechanics, but when it came to like dog fighting, just Alice is a soldier, okay, is what we have to remember. And so she was
Alice
using
deployed.
tactics. And I was playing Attack on Titan when I played this game. I was literally like, I did not touch the ground.
I touched the ground a lot because I died. But otherwise, I was having a lot of fun bouncing.
It is so fun to wall run, and like you can nosedive into a group of 5 people and smash the F button 900 times and win, and just punch people to death.
Okay, can we just talk? Okay, one thing that Titanfall does that is one of the things that make it very mecha for me is the mythos of the pilot. Pilots in this are Greek demigods.
Yes, they are.
You are killing 500 men a minute. Like, I will they build up this mythos of the pilot, and you're just a rifleman who is training to be a pilot and like has unlocked your core pilot skill or some shit. But like, once you become a pilot, you are just unstoppable.
Nevertheless,
on the field.
you're arriving places where otherwise, like, the militia side is doomed, and you're just single-handedly saving like 50 soldiers, and then they all clap for you at the end, and it feels amazing. This game makes you feel like a special little princess at all hours. I'm obsessed with it.
And you don't even necessarily have to be in BT's hand. You just want to. No, I do like the conceit of the pilot training, which you're doing in VR with Lastimosa, and then the pilot kit. Like, once you get that rig on and you have like that boost pack, you have that like movement ability, you are just existing in worlds in a different way. And I really like that, especially for a sci-fi game, because like, yeah, you're supposed to be on different worlds where there are different rules applying. Like, it allowed me to suspend my disbelief about like protagonism a little bit, because it's like, okay, Jack Cooper doesn't have a lot of training, but he has some. And clearly, as they're going through the engagement, BT makes a point of saying, like, we are getting better at fighting together, which is really fun. And also, you put on your special little backpack, and it kind of makes you a god, like Alice was saying. Yeah, so you do that, you get deployed to Typhon, the Apex Predators show up and just curb stomp your boy. They just absolutely annihilate Lastimosa.
It's pretty brutal.
They drilled that man through the floor, but kept him in one piece, and I just want to talk about that.
Yeah, he gets got. It's mostly there to show you that the Apex Predators are a huge threat, but it's also like, I like the fact that like he makes a point of protecting you. He makes a point of being like, "Woo, I'm gonna give you the drug that knocks you out instantly, but when you're back up, you'll feel better." And then like when you come to, everything has gone wrong, and BT is just like trying to keep fighting, but like has almost no energy, needs new batteries.
He needs
and also,
juice.
like,
He needs the green
his
goo.
pilot just died.
This is such a cool little, like, the framing of this. And I can't get over how well designed this is. Like, the framing of him in the grove, it evokes a beautiful poetry of our first meeting with BT. Truly, as pilot and Titan.
The Yuri Enjoyer has logged on.
What I really like about this first stage is that you have to get BT some vials of green goo, and so you have to like go on these 2 different paths that like teach you a little bit more about all the traversal mechanics and everything. But the cool thing is you're accessing like different shut off ends of the same crashed starship. And just like kind of harvesting. It's just mech shit, right? Like, it's like salvaging parts, trying to do like on-field repairs. And then you get the most video game shit of all time, which is we have exactly 3 waves of enemies who are all going to line up exactly the same way on this cliff so that you can learn how to shoot your guns in the Titan.
It's funny.
It's
I
good.
do like that BT is continually under threat. Like, as you're retrieving batteries, you're hearing on the radio, people are like, "Oh, score, we found a van card." And you're like, "No, that's my boy." And you got to keep running back and forth. Be like, "Nope. I know I parked here, but this is mine." But yeah, so you make the neural link to BT. You get in your mech. You get the robot. And you start learning how to use it, and the objective is you are following the trail of an SRS, a scout operative named Anderson, who was leading this mission that you're supposed to be a part of. And so, BT introduces you to the protocols. This is a fun tool that will help us later.
This is in our podcast intro also, by the way, which I did not know.
This is how much I knew that, like, Titanfall was important in the space. And, like, I sort of knew the ending. I was very careful about how I watched the clip that I pulled the audio from. But, like, I was like, oh, what are some iconic lines of BT from Titanfall? And everyone was like, oh, this one probably. And I was like, okay.
Protocol 3, yeah.
Protocol 3.
Yeah.
What loadouts do people use?
We got to talk about the loadouts. So, one downgrade from Titanfall 1 to 2. Titanfall 1 allowed you full customization. So each bit, your gun, your weapon, your
Sure, that makes sense.
You could change out, and you could make a little silly little boy.
I do think that there's a proto element of like hero shooter shit in here, in that it condenses that down to a loadout. Like, you're having to choose kind of like a role or an offensive engagement set, and it's all kind of themed together. Like, if you want to do fire shit, you want to be in this mech. If you want to do laser shit, you want to be in this mech. If you want to mostly focus on defense, you want to be in this kind of loadout.
Tone, by the way, is my answer.
I am also a tone stan. Every time the game like switched me loadouts to like show me the like strategic element of this new one. The one I played for a little while was the one where you can hover and snipe people. That one's awesome.
North Star?
Yeah. But
my favorite is the one at the last, however.
Legion?
Legion.
I think.
No, Smart.
Oh, okay.
Smart, right.
Smart, that's right.
Smart. Yeah, tone is the best, though. I switched to tone almost every time I could. I love missiles. I love having a lot of missiles, and tone is the best.
I'm armored core pilled.
Yeah.
Real question. Did any of you miss any of the loadouts as you were playing?
No.
Because you
I did
can
not.
miss them in the single player.
Well, now I'm not sure.
I suspect I have Alice to thank, because I would have missed one if she didn't tell me something that was very obvious while I was playing with her on mic. But otherwise, no, I did not miss any.
They do a good job of putting them directly in your path.
Well, and
so
also,
you can be trying
again,
shit.
peak video game shit, like they glow bright blue also.
Yeah, the loadouts and the helmets. I was like, okay. Yeah, this was a specific era of collectibles.
Every time you're wearing a pilot helmet, and I 100% believe some fucking developer at some point coded helmets so you see these things glowing blue when you're out in the field.
Sure,
I swear
yeah.
to God.
Okay, yeah. It's BT highlighting. BT's like, I want that.
I want that. Pick that one up.
Please give me a new gun, Jack.
To move us along a little bit, what do we think of our first boss fight against Kane?
Okay, so the boss fights are done differently in this one than in one, in a way that I really enjoy. However, the moment they pop their hatch to give me a speech, I'm just like, BT, just send one round that way. Just one round, BT.
The character card, like the Borderlands ass character cards we get for each of them is a little much, and also I think Kane, they're definitely opening with the lamest one. I have a hot take here for the whole mecha genre. I think putting a flamethrower on your mech is fucking stupid. I think flamethrowers on mechs is lame.
Unless you're fighting a bunch of infantry.
In which case, World War I is happening.
But then I prefer HE rounds. So, yeah, what are you gonna... I get it in a, like, if there was a mechanic in this game where your Titan got too hot and the wires melted, or you got cooked on the inside, but unfortunately we can't play in that space. This is fun. Here's my thought on the boss fights, though. They always deploy with other Titans. Because you can't just have a one-on-one, because you would fucking roll these people with BT.
Yeah, I do kind of like the dynamic that, like, North Star has hired elites. Or not North Star, Jesus Christ, IMC. I was thinking of the loadout again.
You were thinking of
IMC
IPSN from Lancer.
I was like, IPSN.
No, so I do like the dynamic, because video game shit, you're going to have a boss character who's probably going to be unique from the other grunts you've been fighting. And, like, the skills you've learned fighting them are cross-applicable, but, like, there is going to be something specifically different going on. There's going to be some aspect of personality. And, like, in Metal Gear Solid, it's just that, like, the guys you're fighting are all like weird. They've all got like weird orders, but like they're all part of the same organization that the grunts you're facing are against. I liked the dynamic that IMC is like, listen, we have a lot of guys, we have a lot of supplies. We do not have a lot of like heroes the way that like the Frontier Militia has. Like they don't have a Lastimosa, they had to hire one.
They don't have a Blisk.
The IMC is literally that company that just slowly lost all of its tenured and skilled employees because they refused to give them pay increases or any retention at all. And so they just have shitty pilots left, but they have to get a consultant to come in and actually do the work that costs 3 times as much as just paying somebody a better wage.
Yeah, they hired Blackwater. But I do like that creates the dynamic of like, you are mowing through IMC grunts, and then you go against an Apex Predator who has like IMC support, but like that is why they are different. That's why they're a boss battle.
I love that BT knows the battle capacity of the Titans approaching. I don't know how this works. I trust BT, but he's like, hey, they've got a skilled pilot coming, and I can tell.
Well, here's an interesting fact that I found while I was researching our game. Is that apparently like pilot testing stuff, if you're part of an official faction, tends to be public record.
Well, and if you're a mercenary and your machine is clearly capable of analyzing your combat effectiveness, like of course you would advertise that. Like hire me,
Yeah,
look
you're
at
like,
look at my combat capability.
Check out my MMR.
Yeah, check out my high mercenary ELO
On evil LinkedIn.
Evil LinkedIn,
Which is just regular LinkedIn.
So I do have a question about this fight. So when you guys were in these fights, generally, did you play conservative? Did you play aggressive? And my biggest thing is, did you execute them?
Yes, every time.
Now,
Gotta execute.
Sorry.
Feels so good.
your leader is a white South African. Like, I don't...
They really saw District
Good
9.
shorthand.
And so one of the cool mechanics is when you get a Titan down to its structure, its health bar. So we have the 2 health bars. You have shield and you have core health. You can replenish core health with a battery.
You can
which
sip
is
your juice.
set up very cool with the first mission where you have to actually collect them and put them in. And then it's like, okay, you get this mechanic, just walk over glowing green thing. And if you get them into structure, they get this like little hazard marking over their health, and you can get close to them in melee, either as BT or the pilot, and you fucking rip the pilot out and kill them in a grotesquely cool way. Everybody gets a unique death.
Yeah,
It's
you
so
get
good.
a cinematic. It's good. I do think Kane needs some harm reduction. They go to the easy trope of he's a tweaker.
Yeah,
but
he's he's kind of a nothing burger.
Ow!
We can't do this to her. But yeah, I think it's interesting. This is kind of the water treatment facility you go through is like an indicator of things to come. There are a lot of really cool levels in this game. Like every time you
love
change a
this
level
one.
with limited exceptions, like you're like, oh, here's a new wild fucking environment to traverse.
Yeah,
Like,
unfortunately,
something that
I don't think anyone's done a level as good as the one where you're building the boss arena throughout the whole level. I do not think we've made a level better than that one since 2016, and that's pretty dire for video game development, honestly.
Something I love in the water treatment level that is mecha things of all time. At any point, if you're looking around, you can see BT's outline through the level, so you always know where your Titan is. And I just think
Comfort.
that's very cute.
It's very cute. It's comfort. Also, to speak of like the mecha thing that happens in the level that I was talking about, what happens to BT immediately in this level?
I love it. Okay, so Into the Abyss, the boys take a shortcut, and BT gets grabbed by a big industrial claw.
Yep.
And let me tell you, best quality, his wiggles.
His wiggles.
That whole animation where he's trying to get out of the claw and like firing missiles and like wiggling is so good.
He's asking
Also,
you to
it's
help him. He's like, I'm trapped.
It's incredibly funny considering how many times BT is going to pick you up throughout the rest of the game. Like, oh, turnabout's fair play,
Yeah.
motherfucker. Get grisped.
But this is a big facility that all it does is manufacture testing scenarios to blow up. It is so cool.
It's literally
crazy
a
cool.
prefab creating facility.
Yeah.
And so one thing that Titanfall, the universe, does good is the sense of scale. So
Absolutely.
you are just a duder, but the sense of scale of this universe is so big. Like this is just a giant facility.
This is a mega
that
structure.
You are in. It's a mega structure to create these testing facilities, and it's just on some backwater planet. But the IMC just builds shit.
Yeah,
that's this
I
big.
love this as an example of the largesse of IMC.
Yeah, totally.
Because specifically, there's an animation that I noticed that happens when you get close to the arena where you're gonna have your big fight. And Ash has commanded you to get on one of the platforms. If you watch the ones they're taking away, there's like this misty void beneath you, representing like this structure is impossibly huge. As the pieces come down, pieces fall off and they just fall into the void. They're just like wasted, basically. And then that segment is taken away. And I couldn't help thinking about the fact that like the Frontier's whole thing is that like they are mining out our planets, they are fracking, they are poisoning our water, like they are making life unlivable. For what? Every time they build a desk and don't bolt it to the floor of their training thing, they just throw away that wood or polymer or whatever.
The fact that they're making these training facilities and they have a prefab couch that they are 3D printing every time they build this 3D printed building for testing. And they're just making couch for no reason.
They're just making couch.
They are just fucking making couch.
But the other part of
great
this
thing.
is that Ash goes on to be an Apex Legends character, and I can never not forget it when I play this part.
It was very funny doing the research on this to go, what the fuck? Why is her article like 5 times as long as anyone else's? Oh, okay.
The problem is she's cool as fuck. Like, I can't...
She's cool as fuck. There's like dialogue you can overhear between IMC grunts where they're resentful of like having to work under what they call a simulacra. And what you find out is that Ash is like a full body replacement android. Ash is a robot
She's
lady.
a ghost in the shell.
She's a ghost in the shell.
She's a ghost in the
This is
shell.
part of the year of the shell.
She's a robot lady controlling a bizarre testing facility, so her Gladys swag is off the map, and I need to know if she's single.
I mean, it's just Aperture Laboratories, the sense of scale, right?
Well, and here's the thing. Her mech is also just Synduality Noir mech. Like, that thing is jumping around. It's got a big head on a little tiny limbs. It's got a sword. She's so cool. She's like my favorite fight, I think.
She is really great. So yeah, you go through this insane IMC manufacturing facility.
Okay, so each level has a different gimmick, and the one of this one is so good because you were just following through this production of these different prefabs, and like, of course, it's a machine. You're not supposed to be riding on these. It's a completely automated facility, but there's gantries to go to, and they're just the way they do the like, you have to dodge things and you have to like run on things as they're moving. It does really well, but specifically when you're at the part where everything's kind of sideways.
Yeah. That's what I was going to point out. It's crazy. They change your perspective so radically by literally flipping and moving spaces as they're handled by the big industrial claws that grabbed your best friend BT.
Anyway, so this fight fucking rips. So you're in the dome, and something you notice immediately is that ain't no sky. Those are just panels you can shoot.
Yeah. It's really cool. It's really cool. They put you through this IMC gauntlet. They are literally testing the implications of the fact that like when you first get in there, they have militia infantry as your support. So these are prisoners of war that they have put in their testing facility to be test subjects for their technologies because they're mostly deploying automated technologies against you.
Also, Reapers. We got to talk about what they added to this game that wasn't in the first one. The Reapers, which are just larger than human drones that are meant to be able to just destroy pretty much the entire frontier military because something the frontier military doesn't have.
They have little sub-mine drones that creep around called ticks. I hate
those fucking things.
I don't like them.
I don't like those things. That's...
So then they burst. BT comes to your rescue. So you have to survive for a while, which is fucking horrifying as these Reapers jump up and are like chasing you down and you're like trying to save the militia. And then through the wall bursts BT, and this is beautiful because then you see the facility outside of this simulation, and great fight. It's
one of my favorite things is seeing an artifice fall apart. Like the whole reason the beginning of Prey 2017 hits like a motherfucker is because of this conceit. I love it. I love to see it. But yeah, you break out, you have your boss fight with Ash, which whips titty, and you're getting out. And I love the fact that this was literally, this entire facility is because BT was like, I found a shortcut to get to Anderson. And you fuck up so egregiously.
BT's like, I do not think we should take any more shortcuts.
Listen,
Okay,
we're both
their
learning.
lines, their dialogue is so perfect. What's the one where he's like,
They're instantly married.
Well, Jack immediately made it weird. We didn't talk about it, but in the first kind of segment where you meet BT, like you talk briefly about BT's time with Lastimosa, and BT tells you like how many days he worked with Lastimosa, and you can say, wow, that's longer than my last relationship, immediately making it weird.
Immediately weird. Hey, do you guys want to play Dishonored 2 with me?
Yes! Okay, I have a fun fact about this. This game and Dishonored 2 came out the same year, 14 days apart. Because I was like, was Dishonored influenced by this level in Titanfall? Was Titanfall like, let's throw in this cheeky nod to Dishonored? There was something in the water. These games came out 14 days apart.
anyway, which did it better, Dishonored 2 or Titanfall 2? Go.
They're not, don't pit two bad bitches against each other. Titanfall 2 is a much more limited experience, but I think they're both good.
Yeah, my original thought was Dishonored 2 did it better, but I also had the identical thought, why are we pitting two bad bitches against each other?
We can put two bad bitches against each other. I mean, one good and one bad. Starfield Whomst? Fuck you, Todd Howard. You had such a good template to go off of, and you did that piece of shit time
Did
travel.
Starfield do this also?
Starfield did the shittiest version of this. That's all you need to know.
Yeah. But yeah, no, it's an interesting thing to note. They both games use this ability to switch back and forth as a tactical device. Dishonored is obviously like a bigger experience. It's a solo experience all the way through, so they have a little bit more space to play with. One of the things that Dishonored does differently is some of the shit you do in the past changes what the future looks like, and that's not really what's happening here. You can use the ability to travel back and forth to better navigate, I think.
That's
mostly
most of what it is, but
There's some puzzles too.
Titanfall 2 is built for speed, whereas Dishonored is a much more intricate experience. So they also like, I can imagine this fitting into the development cycle of this game versus like, I would not be surprised to hear that in Dishonored 2, that level was the most grueling like developer experience imaginable. There are so many different ways that mechanic has to interact with all the other mechanics going on in that game.
But the reason it's happening, period, is because the fucking IMC, in their quest to immediately grab everyone's shit, have found a weird object from unknown
They found
origin.
precursor technology.
They found motherfucking remnant tech. They found weird shit, and they're like, how can we use this to oppress people?
It's incredible that speaking of how the Dishonored stuff like changes the future, that's not really happening here. But what is happening is the time period you are switching to is the time period under which the facility is originally under attack, and it slowly you slowly come to realize that you're the intruder they're talking about, which is fucking amazing. It's so good.
It is really fantastic.
Yeah.
It's really good, and they're just baffled. They're like, "What is this cloaking technology?"
Yeah.
It's not cloaking technology, my dude. I'm moving back and forth in time.
Yeah.
But it's like you get this great look into what an IMC facility is like. Those fucking corporate drone motherfuckers. Like there are times you'll warp in and they're just like bullying some of the robots that are working. And I'm like, I will not stay.
We haven't talked about the dry bots, but I can't.
I love the robots in this game. I will say that this is the chapter where we get something I have called the proposal of the yeet, which is BT is like, I'll get you in there, and uses a motherfucking lamppost as a grappling hook, like javelin.
Look, I know I talked a little bit of shit about Matt Mercer. I will say, when Coop says, maybe next time you can throw me, he's quivering. He's
Any protests that happen at any point later are token. This man is like, please throw me as hard as you can.
Could you throw me? I want some big uppies, BT.
And BT's like, okay, we'll see.
So
Which I love.
When people talk about Titanfall 2's campaign, this is specifically the level everyone will quote as what makes this stand out. There's nothing cooler than popping back into normal time and seeing BT just fighting fucking people left and right, and then traveling back in time, and they're all like, where's this fucking pilot? It's just so, and they do a whole thing in this battle arena with it.
I love the detail that the reason BT's having to deal with so much like ancient automated security is because you set it off in the past. So when you come back to the future, it's all activated. So not only are you fighting
Reapers are just like crawling
dogs
around half like, it's so funny.
Yeah. And BT's just having to deal with your shit. There's a line where BT's like, it seems that automated forces have been triggered by your activity in the past. And it's like, the voice actor's really good at like a deadpan, but there's very much a, what did you do?
Cooper.
Cooper.
BT, hands on hips. Cooper.
Gilly. So we get a... This is opening the way to our central MacGuffin, which is the inscrutable orb of God. This is the first of 2 times we like touch and stare directly into the eye of God, and I don't know that this is a really something has changed in our brain chemistry. There's no way there's not a side effect to touching inscrutable orb of time.
That's probably fine.
I love it. It feels so troopy in the sense of like, well, my objective is to deal with this thing.
I guess I gotta put it in my backpack.
It's so funny. Important detail, an essential tool that will help us later. You're going backwards and forwards in time, which means that your communication with BT should just be only in the present. But BT does something really cool, which is BT copies part of his AI to your helmet, to your like pilot gear, so that you have some continuity of like guidance and communication even when you're in the past. You're immediately a codependent U-Haul ship. And the thing is, BT is your U-Haul. That's really efficient. Yeah, so you've discovered Orb. Now you have to get this information back to your homies in the Frontier Militia.
We've got to get back to Captain Vasquez of Aliens 2.
Vasquez.
We have got to fix the big satellite to call home. And this facility is not OSHA certified. We are on our Elon Musk
There are no
shit.
handrails.
There are no handrails.
We don't need that shit.
There are several hallways where it's like, clearly the only way to get down this hallway is to be a pilot.
Yeah, it's really funny. The token excuse you get for the fact that this is a facility where the floor is literally lava at many points. The excuse you get for this is that this is the power facility for the big interstellar communications beacon, so it has to be insane crazy.
It's because it's all designed for our little bots, not people. Like, the IMC just pieces of shit.
Perfect segue. These little bots that toddle around, they literally toddle. Their walking animation is a full-throated, like 3-year-old wide-hipped toddle. They're called dry bots. One of them has the device you need. It is using it to power cycle a fan for no reason as you approach. You have to take it from him. You have to take it away from him.
His name is Marvin, right?
You take it away from him.
Feel so bad for him.
And the happy face that's normally like LED screen projected on his chest turns into a crying face, and he slumps over, and he will not... that is now his position. Unless you kill him, he will be like that forever. And if you kill him, you're an enemy of this podcast.
That's real.
There's a moment in this game where you're in the Titan and you're walking around stomping on people, and then the game tries to trick you and you walk into a room full of dry bots. I was tiptoeing. I slowed down so much to make sure I didn't step on a dry bot.
BT like, oh, excuse me. Oh, excuse me. Oh, just gonna get by you here.
Excuse me. Just gonna slip right by here. I will say, okay, another mech moment that I want to call out here is when you go into this, the beacon facility, BT does, if you don't, he tells you to dismount, but they put him on a little elevator that doesn't go all the way up, so everybody can be at his eye level while we have this conversation with the militia. And I just think that that's neat. I think it's neat that he's part of the conversation.
I love the way the soldiers talk to BT. He's just another guy in the room.
Yeah.
Robot rights are real. Like, AI rights are real. This is beautiful. They're all just like, yeah. I also love that they hold up the power cell to him so he can scan it. They're literally like, BT, we're too dumb. You gotta scan this facility and tell us where one of these is. And BT's like, I got you.
And then we have to do the hallway from Metal Gear Solid 4.
Yeah, we have to get microwaved. Well, it's not that they're even dumb. It's that this facility is not fucking OSHA approved. And they're like, yeah, we've had a lot of people die everywhere we've sent them in this fucking facility.
IMC got rid of OSHA first. Let's be honest.
They never had it.
Yeah, they...
Do you guys want to have gay sex? And by that, I mean get raw dog thrown across a chasm, football style.
I have fucking listed this event as the consummation of the yeet. And that language is very specific.
So you're a pilot and you've got your Titan. And unfortunately, the IMC has built a series of inscrutable pillars out in the void, the mist.
They be building inscrutable fucking architecture. They love to not scroot shit.
BT is not one of the flying kinds of Titans, so how are we going to get over there?
You gotta be thrown. You gotta get thrown. You gotta get thrown gently like a gay little football.
I love BT just explaining that he did the calculations and you'll probably be fine. He's like, there's significant variables at play here, but I just love how his eye just turns while he's doing this as he's calculating, will Jack Cooper live?
And you're just sitting in his big hand like, this is the best day of my life.
The yeet owns. The sense of speed is good. You can immediately start running on walls when you land and being the coolest pilot ever. Or shitting yourself. After you get thrown, he's like, I gotta get a new pair of underwear.
You can say that. I did not choose to say that because I think
I did.
I would simply have been emotionally prepared since the previous facility.
I'm pissing.
Alice just pissing recreationally.
Pissing in my pilot suit.
Yeah. And this whole level, you're moving very fast. I think this is the first time trust me happens. BT is like, trust me.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
yeah, I trust you.
I just love that BT's personality is very interesting because he is just an AI who is just spouting out like, I am following the mission. I am doing the most logical thing. And then he's
I
like,
love when a robot is autistic. Sorry.
I know I need to appeal to humans. So trust me, Jack.
Yowie is when your robot loves you back.
Mirror's Edge ain't shit. Okay. Did either of you have trouble with the crane puzzles?
No, actually.
So simple.
Brian was like, I would simply be good at this game. I did die twice before I realized that there was a control. I was like, damn, I really suck at this game. I can't figure out how to cross this castle.
Another drybot who is working the crane and you just push out of the way and I feel so bad for him. That's it. I feel bad that I had to take the crane from him. But landing on that dish, super cool. Love the entire segment.
And then the moment when it realigns and you are sliding at extremely high speed.
And BT has to catch you.
And you just scream. You're like, BT! And he has to catch you, like...
I'm in love with BT.
Catch me in your yaoi hands, BT.
I'm normal, which is why my first note on the next chapter is an entire paragraph. Trial by fire, you've successfully called home. Your boss is here. Her name is Commander Sarah Briggs.
She's in charge of the militia's sexual reassignment surgery squad, the SRS.
Yes, that's true. Wow, an all-trans marauder unit. I love that for them.
I can't believe every character in Titanfall is trans.
Real.
Yeah, wild, but it's true. Very funny. My note here, I'm not going to read it verbatim because it's insane, but my note here is, stop everything. We have to spend an exhaustive amount of time discussing when Commander Briggs tries to get BT a better pilot, and he grabs Cooper and sticks him in his cockpit.
And then they both puppy dog eyes Commander Briggs like, but we're working so well. And BT throws off some numbers about combat efficiency and then just says, this is my pilot.
He's like, I picked this one. I didn't pick this one, but I picked this one.
All I'm saying is more gay couples should stand up to lesbians. This is truly an iconic moment.
That's true.
Is this the turn this year in our coverage where we finally turn from Himijoshis to Fujoshis?
It's time for the cultural shift at OSG Studios.
We're into the year of yaoi. This is beautiful. I love this whole scene. I love that Jack is just like, yeah, I'll just sit in the cockpit to prove that we are compatible to our lesbian boss.
Well, I also think this is the first time that BT has picked him up without notice. And so I feel like if a 40-ton machine grabbed me and put me in the cockpit, I would remain in the cockpit. Like, I would simply be in place. I am simply two-seated. Like,
I just want to combat AI to designate that I'm worth keeping around. And I think that that's a normal want and realistic to achieve.
So this last like run of missions is straight up nonstop dudes being bros being guys.
Dudes, including women who are my favorite guys.
Dudes fucking rock.
I love the D-Day landing Titanfall edition. So this is the shit. So one thing that Titanfall 2 did, oh my god. So okay, mech moments of all time. So you are in the SRS ship, and you're all talking on comms, and you see across from you on the screen the other Titans all in your rigs, ready to drop. And the literal plan is, we're just gonna throw all we have at this facility at once. And so we have a Titanfall, and it is, So the Titan literally is just explosive driven out of the ship. And then as it gets close to the ground, it has like an explosive retro rocket that fires, so it does this like sound barrier break before it lands gently on the ground. And then you just start fucking blasting.
With Yowie. I just want everybody to know this is a visual medium. I just want everybody to know Alice was gesticulating so enthusiastically just now that her webcam has shook like there's an earthquake happening.
I'm so fucking Titanfall.
It is an incredibly
so
beautifully animated sequence too. Like, I guess you're dropping from like low orbit or suborbit because you have that rocket that propels you down, and then I guess terminal velocity takes over, and then you have the rocket that counters that. Like, it fucking rips. It fucking whips. And you do the thing, which is so good. I love it when the Major does it. I love it when BT does it. You crack the ground. Like, you're heavy. You're landing, and you are here. You are simply present.
By the way, to just speak of BT's design real quick too, because we haven't really touched on it.
Oh yeah, we haven't really touched on it.
He's got high impact legs. He's got like the backwards bending legs. We love that on this show. That's always going to hit. One detail about his hands is that the individual fingers are like these flexible flat panels. If you look pretty closely, they look really, really cool as well.
Probably feels super great to be held in them.
One thing that is revealed pretty shortly is that BT himself is actually the little blinking cylinder in his head. I love him
really
so much.
He's the little cylinder. Alice, I'm going to give you 5 interrupted minutes to talk about the 6-4.
Hi. So the 6-4, my beautiful. So we've got pilots, right? Pilots exist, but pilots are as dangerous dismounted. And so the SRS has a couple of detachments of untitaned pilots with them because they just don't have enough Titans at any given time. So the 6-4 are my beautiful children, my beautiful babies. So they are four Titan pilots who are just here to be dude bros who are doing fucking free running and parkour and killing shit.
Dudes be jumping.
So, of course, my wife, Gates, who I love deeply, they all have unique helmets. Some of them have Davis has the crisscross that you have. Droz has it's 6'4" on his fucking face. Bear is this big bulky dude with like 8 eyes on him. And yeah, so literally, so you have these 4 pilots, and then they also have their pilot, Barker, who's flying their little dropship. Dropship's very big in this because dropships also can go into slip space. But they all use unique weapons that you can get in the game. So Bear uses the minigun, Droz uses the R203, etc., etc. But when you are dismounted and actually assaulting this facility, so the first part is like we are running up a hill fighting other Titans. We'll go back to that. But when you get with the 6-4, they are just skeeting around, just jumping over shit and just wrecking IMC left and right. And they're pulling executions off. They're just killing people. And the whole time, they're just joking around because this is nothing to them. And I love the idea that the only thing holding the militia together is its pilots who are they're just out here being like, well, fuck this shit. We're going to go fuck them up. And they're all just encouraging you. And they're like, come on, Cooper, keep up with us. And I love them. I want them to run a train on me. I want them to just bend me over my Titan and just ream me left, right, and sideways. Anyway, none of them die, just to give everybody that. Don't worry, the 6-4 is safe.
Yeah, to normalize Alice, the last note I did have was, why do pilots have slutty little waists? So mechs can grab them? That's my entire note. Anyway, I love the existence of the 6-4 because it explains why Briggs immediately, when she lands and finds out that Lastimosa has died, is like, don't worry, BT, we'll put you with someone competent. And then that's when BT does that. It's like, there are really competent people who do not have Titans right now, and then there's you.
And then they're like, this is just a foot soldier. And then he says, no, I want to keep him. And they say, okay, you get an automatic promotion out of that. Congratulations, Cooper. Merit-based promotions.
So this series of events, Trial by Fire, the Ark, you're in pursuit of the orb.
I want to get to, we're in pursuit of the orb, but I want to talk about the assault on the facility a little bit more as a mecha thing. So consider assaulting a fortress, but instead of tanks, you have Titans. So they're little soldiers, but something this does really cool that I don't know if you guys clocked it as much as I did. When other enemy Titans deploy, nameless Titans, they will have pilots who jeer you and will like call you and shit talk you, and you hear them on comms as you kill them and shit. Like, it's like so cool. And they have unique voice actors. They have multiple voice actors in play, so you never get the same one.
It's not a universal pool of jeers. Like, there's a really funny thing. There's people who like slag you off and like talk shit about you. But then there are also people who are like, I recommend that you surrender. Like, they're like professional. They're like, yeah, you should not be here.
They're literally corporate drones in a, and like different mech styles. So the loadouts in Titanfall 2, those are your standard mechs, and so they deploy those standard mechs against you. So, like, the Ion guys will all be a little more spicier than, like, the Tone guys you fight. And I just think that it's neat, but also, you're deployed with other Militia Titans, and if you don't play it carefully, they will get knocked out, and you'll just hear Militia Titan destroyed. And it's so, like, you feel in this war in this moment. And I think this scene is like a perfect encapsulation of what was good about the Titanfall 1 battles in this game. So that's it. I just wanted to touch base on that.
Absolutely. So you're pursuing the Ark. You tried storming the facility, but they got away with it on a ship. Briggs is like immediately like, get on the fucking bus. We are pursuing. And thus begins the aerial battle, which whips absolute titty.
Nathan Drake Uncharted vehicle chases whomst. We are on ships in barely above the ground chasing another ship. This is so fucking cool.
This is another like based 6-4 moment. There's a whole point where you're having to traverse ships, and one of them says, just the pilot says like, what do you need from me? And the people on the ground are like, oh, just lower the door. And they're like, you're not gonna fucking, and then you immediately use another ship as a wall run traversal. It's really good.
BT literally tells Baker, who's flying the 6-4's dropship, like, hey, I just need you to go here. I'm about to throw Cooper again, my husband. And it throws you,
it's
you
our favorite
wall jump
hobby.
off of the top of their fucking ship and board a battleship so you can go along its side and kill the turrets.
No, unfortunately, the best 6-4 moment has yet to come, which is when you're standing on the gantry and there's a sheet of bulletproof glass between you and the battle bridge of the ship.
Yes.
And the 6-4 just throws a bunch of shape charges on the glass and they all call out targets and then they detonate the glass and everyone in the fucking room immediately gets their brains blown out.
I love this because they're literally like, did you pick your target, Cooper? They're like, you're with us now.
Dudes rock!
Dudes be rocking. And then BT immediately proves that he is also a dude that is rocking.
Yes.
Because he's like, I've got to get to my pilot. Should I find like an access hatch or something? No, he's coming through the windshield. He said, my boy's
He
in there.
punches. He be punching.
He punches out this ballistic shielding, but I love that he does it in a way that won't instantly kill any of the 6-4 from these giant shards of glass. But okay, let's talk about fights of all time.
Viper is good.
Okay, Viper is me playing Titanfall multiplayer with his callouts. He is a Project Wingman player who is just like, I'm aggroing the enemy. I am moving to this location. He's me on comms.
This man has a job.
He's got a job. He also has my favorite of the fits because he wears his helmet when he's piloting.
He also has the coolest helmet. His helmet is so cool looking, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So he flies a North Star and he's just flying around the whole time. And it's this cool mix of aerial fight and not. He is taking down multiple ships, including our battleship.
Yeah. We lose a battleship, we gain a battleship is kind of what happened.
I love the
For real.
militia battleship.
We
That
trade.
thing is an absolute shape. That thing is a chunky boy.
I also love that the SRS, like the captain of it is like, what are we doing? And the SRS captain is just like, just keep fucking chasing it. I don't care.
We can't. I mean, yeah, the information that you've gotten to Sarah Briggs about the weapon that you found is that this is, you remember Starkiller Base from Star Wars, which came out after this, but like, I mean, it's a common sci-fi thing. This is a planet killer. This is, they found an inscrutable orb and their first thought was, what if we fucking yeeted this shit at something at extremely high speeds?
What if we just aimed this at something? We've already destroyed one moon. Why not? Yeah, look, I love a MacGuffin. That's all I'll say. This fight's cool. It is a little, I like the hairiness of you're on a rounded top of a ship and you can slide off of this ship. You can die here by just falling into the forest below. But cool fight, loved killing him. The best part of this is he loses his cockpit hatch is how you end up killing him.
Because he's going hand to hand with BT. Like, you and he separates you from BT. You both fall hard on the surface of the ship. And he loses his cockpit hatch, but he's like gonna beat your Titan to death with his
he rips
hands.
BT's arm off.
Yeah,
it's pretty.
he does.
There's some mecha gore here in a lot of ways that happens specifically to BT that crushed me a little bit. I gotta say.
The way he walks once you get into the ship and you're going to get the orb, like his injured walk as he's kind of holding on to these hallways that are like barely able to like admit him. I do like the way that the IMC staff reacts when you burst into this area, which is clearly not meant for Titans with the Titan. They're like, it's like, oh, fuck.
All right, we gotta get going. But how are we gonna get this inscrutable orb out of here?
Well, first of all, you put your boy, you lift your boy and you put him in the bigger orb that contains the little orb. It is turned around though. So you follow BT with one missing arm into the ship to retrieve the orb. You put the orb, he puts Jack into the casing of the orb, and Jack pushes the orb into the cockpit of BT, and BT's like, acquired.
You've got the orb inside you.
Listen, everyone.
You have the orb inside you.
You have the orb inside you. But then, unfortunately, Apex comes to wreck your whole shit, and BT's already down an arm. You can't get in the cockpit because there's an orb in there where you belong. And so Apex does elastomosity to you. They just absolutely obliterate your shit. Like, I'm sorry. They just beat your ass. And when you come to, because they have captured you, BT is in a bad way. All of BT's limbs have been removed except for his right arm.
What a mecha moment of all time.
The implication here is that basically they have been torturing BT.
He's strung up the way Jessica Lange is strung up in King Kong. That's what it evokes to me.
Like, BT is fucked up. You're not in great shape. But basically, Blisk is not making any headway on making BT open cockpit and produce orb.
And they don't want to try and blow it open because there's an unstable power source in there.
Yeah, Sloan is like, what if we just fucking ripped it apart? I love ripping things apart. Boss, let me rip things apart with my bare hands.
I'd kill for you. Please ask me to kill for you.
I love women. And Blisk is like, literally, no. I know how to solve this. So Blisk starts threatening you at gunpoint and is like, if you do not open your fucking cockpit, I'm gonna blow your pilot's head off. And BT does this whole gambit where he's like, oh, I'm so injured.
So nagged. I'm so owned. I'm so owned.
Protocol 3, I gotta protect him.
And then BT sends you a fucking IM, a encrypted message. It rips. It pops up on screen and it says, Cooper, trust me. And you do. And so he opens the cockpit as a distraction. And when they approach, he tries to take them out with his remaining arm. He tries to do a big mech haymaker. Unfortunately, he is just really, really fucked up. So they remove the power source, you're left, everything's exploding, they leave you to die. And BT is like, take the seer kit. I didn't realize this was a historical. Alice, please tell me about seer kits.
Pilots get a seer kit, guys. This is a thing that pilots get in Titanfall. The seer kit is your little emergency kit.
Yeah, it's survive something, resist, escape. I forget what
Endure,
the first
some Bear
T
Grylls
is.
shit.
Endure or something. Yeah, I don't know. It's World War II British SAS shit is what this is. But your seer kit doesn't
Survival,
just contain
evasion, resistance,
evasion.
escape kit.
That's what that was.
So what comes in the greatest thing that ever happens to you? Thank you for asking. The best weapon in Titanfall, I will fight everyone in the comments, the smart pistol.
Yeah, I mean, it auto-targets. It's so cool. It's so fun to use. The reload animation rules.
Did we talk about the data knife as well?
We have not talked about the data knife. I was about to bring up the data knife. Hey, when you hack, you pry open panels with your knife, and then you fucking insert your knife, and the knife hacks.
It's so...
The end hilt of it is literally just doing the hacking. You just stab shit. Pilots are so
Ships
cool.
Battleships come built with a little trackball that has a slot in it for a data knife so that you can emergency pilot them. What are we doing?
We are absolutely rocking.
We're rocking.
We are now dudes, and we are rocking.
We are now dudes. Everyone on this pod and
yeah.
everyone listening, you're now a dude for the express purpose of rocking.
I'm sorry, gender neutral.
But you have to rock.
But you have to rock. That is the requirement.
The reveal of this is the best part, because for the whole thing, you think the seer kit is the entirety of BT, like that's his operating system little head thing moving around. BT is actually just that little glowing circle. That's it. And you literally take it and slap that shit on your wrist. And okay, the seer kit's very funny because you open it and it's this giant thing and it's literally just like a gun and a knife.
I'm like, oh, there's got to be some and a BT. But I'm like, is there a ration? Is there a canteen? Is there like a survival compass? No, it's a gun and a knife. That's your survival kit.
What else do you need?
On-site procurement. But then BT gets a sexy new gender assignment surgery.
Briggs is like, listen, we have one unit we can drop you. I'm pulling its data core. Sorry to whoever that was. I think it gives you the designation. It's like FS something something, and then when you put the data core in, it changes to BT. But Sloan's just like, I'm in a real quick Titanfall.
Getting a drop of an empty chassis that you run up to and you slap your partner into the chassis. Oh,
it
so
is kind
good.
of a thematic, oh my god, it's like poetry, it rhymes. It is kind of thematic. You have been slammed into the cockpit, now you are slapping your boy back into the chassis. Like,
in another life, I would have loved to be slammed into a chassis with you.
Yo, we're not well.
We're so unwell.
We're unwell. But yeah, so they end up in the glow up chassis, which is what I've referred to this as. You have a different paint scheme. You have a different. It tries to have you do the Legion loadout. I assume everyone immediately, switched to whatever they actually liked playing with.
That smart minigun is so fucking stupidly fun to use.
I don't like it. I was talking to Ghost about this. He was like, "Why did you just switch back?" I was like, "I don't like miniguns very much. I'm just not a minigun person."
That's valid.
I like the tones, like
the
little marker gun that it shoots. That's the coolest thing ever.
Did you like the in pilot mode, the little spin up machine gun for that at least? Or
no?
Really? Was it the lead up time to it?
It was the lead up time. My favorite pilot mode weapon was again the single shot, like it was almost like a rivet gun. Like I was like pinning corpses to surfaces with it. I don't know exactly what it was, but I love that thing.
I also love the railgun from Fallout.
You have to give honor to the core of this game, which is Half-Life 2. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, it is funny. It is built on a heavily modified source engine.
The Seed.
I've never played Half-Life. Anyway, moving directly onwards. You have a boss fight with Sloan, who is in an ion chassis. She is hitting you with red laser.
She's hitting you with red laser. She's kamehamehaing you.
The ion is a weird kit. Sustained damage over time never feels as satisfying as I want it to do. That's all I want to say. But great for killing infantry.
Yeah, it really is. It's one of those things that, like, if you wanted to hit other Titans with it, you'd need to have, like, a good position where they have no cover and you can just and get them.
So Sloan, this is the payoff of you're back together and BT's upgraded. You just fucked this bitch up so hard.
You fuck her up. I love women, but unfortunately it feels really good to oppress them.
This execution is so good. You fucking peel off her carapace and then just shoot into her cockpit like 900 times with the minigun.
She is jam after this. She is jelly.
Well, and it's a good echo of the fact that, like, when they extract the power core from BT, when they massacred my boy, I believe it's her who just unloads a minigun into the inside of his cockpit. So it's literally revenge. It's really good. And then you get a job offer.
Hey guys, what if we put in a little note about what Titanfall 3 was going to be, and then it just became a mid free-to-play shooter?
I'm so upset. He was almost in my polycule.
I know. You pull the power core, you get knocked on your ass, because again, you're just like raw dog handling the eye of God. And while you're knocked on your ass, Blisk does the coolest shit ever. So we haven't talked about the cockpit in this. When you get in it and it's not active, when there's no neural link, there's no windows, there's no way for you to see out. You have to form a neural link with your Titan so that you can use their optics. And then the screens load in front of you and it creates this like transparent look basically where you can see your environment. Blisk disembarks from his Titan and lands on BT, so it looks like Blisk has landed on a glass coffee table over your face, which is wild.
I want him to do that to me.
Dilf alert.
He's like, well, you killed all my fucking guys. So he pulls out like a business card that says Apex on it and slaps it on the front of your mech and is like, all right, call me. And leaves.
My favorite part of this is you think he's gonna fucking kill you, and he says, I don't work for free. Because his mission is done. When he was hired by
walked in on him getting his paycheck, so it's over. So
General Evil White Guy already paid him, and he's like, I'm done here. Like I'm a mercenary. They've paid me, and I did my mission.
I love him so much.
And I like that, like, Sloan is like personally invested in fucking your shit up, because otherwise Sloan could have left too. Like, they've been paid. Nothing in the contract said that they had to kill this specific pilot who was causing so many problems. They delivered the power source. And so Sloan is out to fuck your shit up just because women love fucking your shit up, and I support that. I support women's wrongs. But Blisk is like, I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a businessman. I'm a smart thinker. Here's my business card. Call me sometime. And
he literally gave me his number.
He gives you his number and tips.
Anyway, I'm sick to my stomach. You can tell BT that you're not going anywhere.
We can't put it off.
Can we talk about the slow decryption of the protocols? What's Protocol 1, Niko?
Form a neural link.
What's Protocol 2?
Uphold the mission.
And what's Protocol 3?
Yowie.
Protect the pilot.
No, Protocol 3 is Yowie.
We didn't even cover earlier when BT has taken the power core and like the ship starts going down. He starts grabbing just panels off of shit as he is covering you. And he says, I will not lose another pilot. And like...
Ugh. I'm so mentally unwell.
BT could have survived and escaped, but he got caught because he could not leave a pilot. And as everything is going fucking critical and BT has calculated how we can destroy this weapon with a sure factor that, you know, because the militia ships are getting shot down. They're not able to break this.
Yuri is the wind through the blades of grass, and Yowie is when you get shot out of cannon.
Yeah, Yowie is when you load yourself in and become Bullet. And literally you can choose the dialogue line. Jack is like, I'm not leaving you, BT. We're doing this together. We are mutual sacrificing because you have to get launched out of Big Gun as Bullet because BT can detonate his power core as like the surefire way of destroying this weapon. And you are fired. And then BT makes a call for you and grabs you for the last time in his big, beautiful hand and says...
He says, trust me.
Says Protocol 3, protect the pilot.
Protocol
trust
3.
me.
And he yeets you for the final time.
He yeets you into the arms of lesbian mommy.
I was Destitute.
I was devastated. Yeah,
I'm never going to financially recover from this.
I knew it was coming. Even the first time I played it, I just knew where they were going with it, and I think you guys did too, but...
Again, it rhymes. It's like Lastimosa dies and entrusts BT to you, and then like when you are going to die, BT is like, no, you are getting out of here.
we get Coop face reveal. He's a dusty white guy. Boo.
The fucking credit scene,
Before the
still
credits.
images where everybody's just high-fiving you and you're the biggest dude bro on campus. Cringe as fuck, but then we have it. Coop's helmet is sitting on the ship, just sitting there. What happens to it?
Well, first of all, we get on Discord chat with Ghost. And second of all, it begins flashing a light pattern. And if you're on call with Ghost, or if you know Morse code, or if you Google this, it is flashing the word Jack.
Those of you with media literacy, as people call it, will know that earlier you downloaded a part of BT into your helmet. And then they didn't make a fucking sequel!
Then we got Apex fucking Legends.
I'm working on it. I have decided to take this on, okay? Okay, I'm taking this on. Anyway, no, so like, listen, gay rights continued. Gay rights upheld. Uphold the gay rights.
Protocol 4, gay rights.
I think this is a good way to give you a satisfying end, because it is a little sad. It's a little bittersweet at the end, what ends up happening.
Especially, okay, dumbest line writing of all time. After all of that shit, the thing that Matthew Mercer said is like, they want to wipe the neural link and get me set up with a different Titan, but I kind of liked the other one.
You loved him. You loved him.
What the fuck
Shut
I
the
kind of
fuck
liked.
up.
I'm executing you like a dog.
If Matt Mercer was really an ally, he would have stayed in that booth until they let him say love.
Gay rights. Anyway, now that we've made sure that the continuity of gay rights is preserved, Alice, what do we got to do?
We've got to remember that we didn't talk about Richter because he's such a nothing burger of a character.
Oh, I fucking forgot Richter. He's German. I don't know what you want from me. Oh, I'm sorry. He's Austrian.
Who gives a shit? We've got to rate these goddamn mechs. So we've got to talk about the many different kinds of Titans in this. Specifically, we have to talk about BT 7472, both his original Vanguard and his glow up. Kane's Scorch, Ash's Ronin, Richter's Tone, Sloane's Ion, Blisk's Legion. We also have to talk about the Time Warping Watch, which is a mech. We've established that watches can be mechs.
You can't just keep saying that watches are mechs, Alice.
Watches are mechs, also to be considered. Dry bots, also to be considered. The scenario assembly facility itself.
We can discuss them, fair enough. I have put images in there for us of BT Original, which has kind of a fun, classic, like avocado green and orange color scheme.
The IMF color scheme.
Yeah, I love that that's like, what are our colors gonna be? It's gonna look like the 70s threw up on us. Let's go. Like, I love it. And then BT's glow up, he goes black except for the orange accents and looks very, very edgy.
I love him.
I do like original more than I like glow up.
Of course
even
you
though
do.
Glow up objectively looks very cool. I know, I love shit that's janky.
You love shit that looks boring. I get it.
That's why you love the Frontier military.
No, it's just this old.
No, it's just old.
I like antiques. What can I say? Give me BT. So the thing about the bosses is that they have like custom paints, but the bosses are basically like advertisements for specific loadouts, which I think is kind of fun. But yeah, we have them all here as Alice listed them out. Plus the watch, plus the everything we've discussed. Alice, what's your rating? What are you feeling?
Hey. I'm not going to do the full Oscar speech that lasts forever, but when we think about mechs, as a podcast, as mech fans, as mech aficionados, I think this is specifically a cornerstone for me. This is so much of what mecha means to me and just the stories of it. And the bond between a pilot and a Titan is so special, and pilots are so special, and Titans are so special. So I do consider what you do as a pilot on the ground as part of the mech of this, because at all times, you're enhanced by your link to your Titan. The Titan does so much of your neural processing and so much of what you are doing. You're an extension of the pilot of the Titan, and the Titan is an extension of you. BT7472 has no right to be as lovable, adorable, and caring as BT7472 is. and I would die for them and they would die for me. This is a 10 out of 10. There's no way this isn't a 10 out of 10. I don't have to go into the details on everything about this, but this is Mechs. This is Mechs, baby. What about you, Brian?
This is Mechs. This has every box. This checks every single thing. We have elaborate things that show you the sense of scale. We have this like intimate connection. We have yaoi. We have just like incredible movement systems and animations. The way all the interfaces work is incredible. The technical design is incredible. The 3D modeling is incredible. Shout outs to Lastimosa that the character is named for the lead 3D artist on the game, and he deserves it. This is also a 10 out of 10. How could it be anything else? We are in the spring of yaoi. This is yaoi. I don't know what else to say. Your robot should love you back.
Well, for me, this is a 4. That's a joke. That is a joke. No. So Alice brought up a good point, which is that a lot of the dynamic of Titanfall is when you can be together and when you have to be separate. And it's very interesting. Like, so often we see people climbing into mechs because there are things they can accomplish in mechs that can only be accomplished in a mech. I really like the fact that the pilot having to be an extremely trained extension of their Titan means that the pilot also, there are things only the pilot can do. Like, when I was playing this, I was noting that, like, a lot of spaces are big and wide open. BT can navigate them with you, especially, like, superstructures like the manufacturing facility. But so often, you are being deployed as a pilot because there are areas and there are things that need to get done or explored that cannot, like, BT cannot fit into despite being, like, a really...
He's going to drop you into manhole.
Yeah, he's going to deploy you as a part of himself, and then you are also going to reunite with him as a part of himself. And I love whenever there's an intimate connection between a pilot and their mech, but especially, like, I like actually feeling that the pilot out of the mech, like the 6-4 prove, is not substantially less dangerous than the pilot with the Titan. Like, I love that. I love that this is something like Alice is a big standing man emoji mech enjoyer. I didn't realize I'm a big, there is a universal frame and you customize it enjoyer. I like different builds of mechs, but I also really enjoyed the fact that, like, if you look at all of the different loadouts side by side, they're visually different. Like, the North Star is way lighter compared to a lot of these because it does take flight. Like, the Scorch has different equipment because it is dealing with fire. But you can see that there is a shared, like, basic template that Titans are built from. I loved it. It's a 10. We got a Hyakushiki, baby. This is just... It's good. We all knew it. I had jokes, but we all knew it. Like, it's just fantastic.
So I do want to, so we're past the ranking and there is the closing thoughts on mechs. I need to talk about one thing that we didn't consider. So specifically, we considered the single player of Titanfall 2 as we were discussing today. But I want to give homage to the multiplayer, which had many different great modes. But from a mecha perspective, some things that occur in multiplayer that don't happen in single player that I think we should give some credence to is in multiplayer, you're calling Titans constantly because you're on foot, you earn enough points to call in a Titan. It Titanfalls, you jump in it, and your Titan can die. And when you get into structure, you can eject, which is a cool thing where you literally just pull your jump cord and you shoot up in the air. Different things that you can do with this is you can shoot the pilot out of the air if you're in another Titan, which is a beautiful thing to do because they're just, for a brief moment, completely vulnerable before they start the descent. And the other thing that can happen is you can rodeo a Titan, which does not happen in single player. Rodeoing a Titan is, as a pilot, you can run up, jump onto a Titan, you get on top of it, and the first one did it better. In the second one, you're literally just throwing a grenade down its exhaust pipe, which is very fun. That does damage to it, but you're literally riding this Titan as it's just trying to buck you off. And if you're in that Titan, you get a pilot warning that you have somebody on you. That's just so iconic. So I just wanted to give credence to the things that it does that are just beautiful for mechs in multiplayer. That's it.
It's extremely fucking
sorry
cool.
For ranting,
like, sorry.
But I wanted...
That's extremely fucking cool. I, like, literally cannot believe we sacrificed that for the sake of Apex Legends. I'm saying it for the 5th time on the air.
All right, after the break, we are going to do some very important testing with my friends and read a little letter. So, see you then.
Hey guys, Alice here. Thanks for listening to On the Shoulders of Giants. We're really happy you're here, but if you know anybody who might be interested, we'd love if you share our work with them. If you are enjoying what we're doing, maybe send us a message, or what would really help us out is if you leave a review online. Really, a lot of the algorithms will push people down if they don't have reviews, so it really helps if you just go and write something on the internet. Heck, we might even read one on the podcast if it's really nice and makes our hearts go doki doki. So if you could do that, maybe do it, and thanks again for listening. Now, back to the show. Welcome back from the break, pilots.
Welcome back from the break. I hope you took the time to be held gently in the palm of your mech. You should be doing that at all times.
Oh, this is a lot of words right here.
It is. You don't have to read the first part. Okay. This game is called Effective Percentile. There's a special metric that BT tracks throughout Titanfall 2, and that's his and Cooper's combat effectiveness rating. Now, unfortunately, I'm not Ash with an insane testing facility to make you two go through for a score, so I'm improvising to uphold the mission.
Protocol 2.
Yeah. First, decide between the two of you who is the pilot and who is the Titan.
Brian.
I don't know.
What are your feels?
I don't know.
I think Niko should assign us.
I feel like I want to... okay.
No. Your thoughts. I have no...
I want to pick the Titan, but I don't want to take it from you if
I
you
wanted
want
to be
it.
the pilot, so this works out perfectly.
I knew this. If I had to assign it, I would have been like, yeah, Brian obviously wants to be the extremely cool Titan, and Alice wants to be the extremely special pilot. Like, obviously. Alice is disembarking and just fucking people up for fun and profit.
I do wish there was a mechanic that you could just ride on top of BT as he was walking, because I want to be a cool pilot sitting on a Titan. That's it.
He wants to hold you very closely. All right.
I want uppies.
Second of all, decide on your faction. Are y'all from IMC, Frontier, Militia, or the Apex Predators?
Fuck the police, Frontier Militia.
Okay.
You good with that? Okay.
Yeah.
So now that you've decided on these facts, I'm going to make you take a compatibility quiz based on couples compatibility quizzes I found on cosmopolitan.com. Now, I wrote this one, but I did use those as a template. So you're going to take this in character.
Okay.
Okay.
Please get something to write with, because you're going to note your answers secretly at first, and then we're going to go through to score your compatibility.
I'm going to use my notes app.
Okay, that's totally fine.
I had finished my notebook that I use for this podcast, which you can put in bids for now on eBay. And I had gotten a new one, and I hadn't brought it up here yet, So
bearing those facts in mind, in character, you're going to take this compatibility quiz. I will read the questions and the options aloud. You'll each write down your answer without helping each other. Do not give hints. Do not talk to each other. You write down what you think as the pilot and as the Titan in your faction. The answer is.
Brian, what's your Titan's number? This is important. What's your letters and numbers?
Oh, so this is a lore fact that we didn't drop. To quickly further dox myself a little bit, my middle name is Thomas.
Yep.
And I was, and when I was like very little, I was often in the bumfuck nowhere of Texas, where they like to call you by your first two names a lot. Mm-hmm. So for a very large part of my early childhood, I was known as Brian Thomas,
the lore.
Or BT for short.
God, the BT
People literally
reveal.
called me BT. So I'm going to say BT, but we'll change the numbers. It'll be like 1693. BT 1693.
That's beautiful.
6'9",
Alice, do you have
nice.
Do you have a pilot
Jane
call
Cooper.
sign or anything? Jane Cooper.
Easy.
I'm so glad we're just like slightly to the left.
Yeah. This is the timeline where we both die at the end.
Okay. So at the end of this, I am going to render you a percentage of your compat effectiveness. You get it? Compatibility. Okay, anyway.
Our compet effectiveness?
Your compat effectiveness. Just keep in mind, BT and Cooper already got a perfect 100.
Niko was so fucking smug when she said that. I just need everybody to know.
Yeah, hey, everyone shut up. Your compat effectiveness?
Fuck you.
Christ.
I hate this podcast.
All right, let's go. Question 1. You've had a rough mission and you need to unwind. What are you up to?
Aw.
A. Joint shore leave on a picturesque planet, ideally with a beach. B. Taking on a side job for fun and profit. C. Doing some self-care separately so we can come back to each other refreshed. D. 24 case of beer arc tool repair bay. Whatever happens, happens.
Sheesh.
Write your answers now. Oh, and let me know when you're ready for the next one.
Okay.
My
I
cat
think what my
laments.
character traits are.
I know, me
You gotta
too.
come up with a character real quick and then answer according to those traits.
Okay, I think I got it. I think I got it.
Okay, y'all ready for question 2?
Yes.
Brian?
Okay, I'm ready.
Okay, question 2. Uh-oh, you've been shorted on pay but need to resupply. How do you make ends meet? A. Switch to melee on our next mission. You don't have to pay for ammo you don't shoot.
So real.
B. Sell your personal transport and do Titanfalls from a rideshare carrier. C. Different faction and try to negotiate a higher salary. Or D. How important are batteries and food anyway?
First off, I love
No.
that I can see the core of the Cosmo question. That's it.
It literally is. I will say, so many of these questions, they are about relaxation, knowing your partner's stress, financial decisions, future planning. But it is Titanfall horse shit. I will probably make this just available as a PDF, not as like some kind of quiz. So if you want to pick a friend or a partner and take a compatibility test, you will be able to do
I
this.
love that we're publishing our quizzes. This
I
is
love
very
doing
good.
it. I've
It's
been
so
on a
fun.
weird kick for
No, it's great.
for weird quizzes.
It's great.
All right. Have y'all written your answers?
Yes.
Yes.
Question 3. What do you think is the #1 source of stress for you and your pilot/Titan right now? A. Extreme work performance pressure from your faction. B. Deciding what the future looks like after so much conflict. C. Wondering if you really belong or if they really belong where they are and want what they're striving for. Or D. Being shot at with guns. That was such a funny question that came up so often. It's like, do you know your partner's #1 stressor right now? And I'm like, that is actually a good indicator. You should know why they're pissed. Their enemies are your enemies. All right, are y'all ready for 4?
Yes.
If you were irretrievably killed/destroyed, what would you want your pilot/Titan to do? A. Move on, erase our neural link, keep going. B. Perish only in a sacrifice worthy of my own. C. Maybe consider a role other than pilot/Titan? Have you considered administrator/tractor? D. I will never die, bitch.
Tractor mechs are so in this year.
I love the idea
Tractor
of
mechs are always in on this show.
swords into plowshares, turn your mech into a tractor. And then fuck it. Anyway, are y'all ready for 5?
Yeah.
Pride, I've lost pride. All right, 5. It's time for a new coat of paint on your chassis and piloting gear. Pick the color. A. Yellow. B. Gray. C. Purple. Or D. Green. And yes, these are your only options. Pick.
Damn, we only got
Okay.
4 paints in the future.
We got 4 colors.
We're just too poor for colors, too.
Listen, we're already in the rideshare carrier.
Yeah.
All right, question 6. What's the worst part of the job you do together? A. The psychological toll of war. Human or AI, it changes you. B. Traveling so much. It's so hard on the body/chassis.
Real.
C. The co-workers. None of your fellow pilots/Titans do the job right. Or D. Being shot at with guns.
Okay, I'm ready.
Okay. 7. How do you and your pilot/Titan approach an object of unknown origins? A. We need to make this a known origin. We investigate. B. Immediately throw it at something and see if it blows up. C. Turn it into our boss in the faction. Cha-ching. D. Bury it in a big hole. There's literally no way this turns out well.
I feel like we're gonna get a compat score of 2. I'm trying, but this is the worst form of the newlyweds game.
Yeah. The thing is, I was trying to find a quiz that y'all could take together at the same time, and like that's just not the format. The whole format is you each take the compatibility quiz and then you compare results. All right. Question 8. Oof, the cockpit's getting a little funky. What kind of air freshener would both of you like? A. Vanilla bean. B. Fresh air. C. Rejuvenating citrus. Or D. New car.
Titans have smell receptors.
I do, bitch.
Yeah, Brian has smell receptors specifically to tell you when you stank, just to be rude to you. All right, question 9. What makes you laugh together? A. Movies and other media we share to get away from it all. B. Finding an enemy corpse in a funny pose. C. Our banter. We play off each other well. Or D. Being shot at with guns.
Just sharing a little laugh.
Just sharing a little laugh. All right, y'all ready for 10? We're almost done here. Given the opportunity, would you and your pilot/Titan do a fastball special? A. Would we? We do them all the time. B. We've been eagerly waiting for a good opportunity. C. Only if there was no other option. Or D. No, I am/my pilot is far too breakable. Alice, I have a very special type of question here at the end.
Is it a bonus question?
It is a bonus question. Do you think you and your pilot/Titan will score highly on this quiz? This is the evil question that makes you evaluate your other partner's ability to match with you. A. Obviously, we're very compatible. B. There's a strong chance we agree on most things. C. Maybe? Sometimes I think we might be better off with others. Or D. No, but if you take this bitch away from me, it will be worse. All right, do you have your answers?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
So now we're gonna go back up to the top. I'm going to ask you what letter you chose. If you match, you get a point towards compatibility. If you do not match, you do not.
Okay.
So for question 1 about the rough mission and the need to unwind, Alice, what answer did you choose?
D. Whatever happens, happens.
All right, Brian, what answer did you choose?
D. Whatever happens, happens.
Hell yeah, brother.
Go, brother. I'm putting a beer can into the chassis. BT getting drunk with me.
I poured one in the exhaust port. This one's for BT. All right, for 2, the budgeting question. Brian, what did you choose?
I chose C, switch to a different faction.
Alice, what did you choose?
Switch to melee.
All right, well, unfortunately, you're not compatible there, but I do like your different pragmatic approaches. All right, for question 3, number 1 source of stress, Alice, what did you choose?
Gotta be D, being shot at by guns.
All right, and Brian?
D, being shot at by guns.
That is good. Okay, that makes sense. For question 4, how do you want them to move on? That question. Brian, what did you choose?
D, I will never die, bitch.
Alice, what did you choose?
D, I will never die, bitch.
All right, for question 5, Alice, what color did you choose for your chassis and piloting gear?
I know my Titan, and I know what color my Titan wants to be painted. Purple.
Okay.
C.
Brian, what'd you choose?
I picked yellow.
Well, you can't win them all.
The fucked up thing is purple is the right answer. I don't know why I picked yellow.
You're like, I want to be really visible so pilots know to rodeo me.
I'm over here.
All right, for 6, the worst part of the job. Brian, what did you choose?
None of your fellow pilots do the job right.
Okay, so C for coworkers. Alice?
C. None of these fuckers know what they're doing.
You are 2 of the most confident people I know. This tracks. All right, for question 7. I'm just dropping shit everywhere. For question 7, approaching objects of unknown origins. Alice, what'd you choose?
A. We gotta touch the orb.
You gotta investigate it. Okay, Brian?
I picked C, turn it into our boss, cha-ching. I think I'm the only one that cares about money in the relationship. Those have been the 2 divergent points.
Titan is doing the finances.
I'm not in it for the money. I'm in it for the war.
The Titan is filing your joint taxes and just like crying when it comes tax season.
Oh my god, our budget is fucked.
All right, question 8, our little air freshener. Brian, what did you choose? Because you can smell.
I chose fresh air.
Okay, fresh air. Alice, what did you choose?
I chose fresh air.
Nice.
Oh my god, y'all!
I was gonna be happy so long as it wasn't new car, because new car actually physically makes me
I thought
sick.
about new car for a long time, and I was like, no, Alice, you're a pervert because you choose new car when you get smells in your car. Okay, if it was just called new Titan smell though, I would have chosen it.
I just like the idea that somebody would get in a Titan and be like, I want this to smell like a new car, a different thing.
A different thing.
All right, number 9, what makes you laugh? Alice, what did you choose?
Oh, D, being shot at with guns. That gives me a little giggle.
Brian, what did you choose?
I picked B, finding an enemy corpse in a funny pose.
That's fair. You're allowed to have different interests, like it's fine.
See, our banter, imagine laughing at your own banter. You don't acknowledge how funny your banter is, it's for other people.
It's true.
That's for if you're in like the line at the grocery store and you're doing a bit and the cashier laughs, that's the validation. Like you don't laugh at your own shit. I speak from experience.
I always think they're laughing at you for being a fucking loser, but...
I can always tell. I feel the warmth. Anyway, 10. Fastball special question. Brian, will you, won't you?
We do them all the time.
Okay, Alice?
We do them all the time.
Except I do it like a paper football. I hold Alice like this, and then I flick her.
Alice's spine is fucked, but it's really funny.
I'm just like spinning in midair until I land on something.
with the jetpack firing.
Yeah.
All right, now for the bonus question, this will be funny. All right, Alice, did you think you were going to be highly compatible?
No, but if you take this bitch from me, it's going to be worse.
And Brian, what was your answer?
No, but if you take this bitch from me, it will be worse.
All right, I am going to do some quick math here. I'm going to get out my little calculator.
Brian and I keep getting put together as co-pilots, and it is doing work. The
We're
calculation.
Mavs. We already said we've talked about this.
We're Mavs.
Okay, so I ran it through the computers here. We've got it, the Frontier base. They're a little junky. I don't know that these algorithms are like great. Y'all scored getting 7 out of 11 questions synced up, a 64%.
I
don't feel that is accurate because I feel like you are aligned on most things. And the ultimate reporter of what your score is actually Brian. So Brian, what score do you think that you have with your pilot?
Oh, what score do I think I have? 64. What score do I report to the command? 99.
Yo, Niko is the lesbian commander who has come to us and it looks BT in the eyes and says, I'm gonna get you a more functional pilot. And what do, Brian?
You say no, bitch! And you pick Alice up and slam her in the cockpit.
And then I fold my arms.
Football flicks me away.
Oh my god. All right, well that was our game. We did repair the satellite relay and we are getting a flash transmission though.
Mm-hmm.
Oh shit, is it from SRS Command about my surgery?
It is about your surgery. Alice or Brian, would you like to read our beautiful review that we got?
Alice, you can read it. You should read it.
This is from M. Kusanagi 2501.
Thank you so much, Major.
Thanks for that. An absolute gem. Before discovering On the Shoulders of Giants, my life was in disarray. I was lost and alone. Now I am whole. No longer do I sit in silence as I build my mecha model kits. The net is vast and infinite. And so too is my appreciation for this podcast. I'm dead.
Legitimately, thank you so much.
Me. This is adorable. I love themed reviews. Thank you so much. Me and this listener have melded in the net, and we are now one. And we are a young child the net is vast and infinite in front of us.
Yeah, so we got this review, and the reviewer also posted in the Discord. That has been such a wonderful community. It is small, but it is mighty. I love seeing people posting music that they're listening to, posting their Gunpla collections, posting new projects.
I loved that after the Lancer episode, so many of them shared amazing Lancer builds that they were running.
They're really fantastic.
Yeah, actually, our Blue Sky also popped off when
the skeets were so good.
When the skeets are skeeting.
When the skeets are skeeting.
Well, we just want to say thank you again to our listener, the Major, for leaving.
You mean M. Kusanagi? We don't know what the M stands for.
Yeah, it stands for Mildred.
Mildred Kusanagi.
Well, still, thank you so much for writing in. Thank you for leaving a review. This was an Apple Podcast review. I do hate that Apple has like hegemony over the podcast market, but this helps us so much. We really appreciate it. So thank you.
Also, tell us what kit you built during this episode. I want to know. I want to align our episodes with what kits our listeners are building while listening to them.
Jesus Christ. I was so caught up in the yaoi of it all. I didn't even open a tab to search if I could get a BT model kit. I will be on that immediately afterwards. Like, do not even worry about it.
I have bad news.
They got Legos. That's about it.
You can get a statue.
Every day I'm getting pushed closer to a resin printer. Like every day of my life.
You can get a Lego build of it, though. The Lego's pretty nice.
You can get a statuette.
Okay, I might get a statuette. That's real. That's real. All right. That has been this episode of On the Shoulders of Giants, where we discuss Titanfall 2. Any parting thoughts, gang?
Trust me, listener.
That's real.
I've loved women on the podcast. It's time to love men.
It's time to love men. I love that. Speaking of loving men, it's time for my call to action I hinted at earlier. Listeners, there are only 113 works on Archive of Our Own for Jack and BT. Only 33 of those are explicitly romantic. Some of them are crossovers with Fallout 4, which seem inexplicable to me. Hey, if you wrote those and you're listening, I mean, thank you for being a listener. Also, okay. Anyway, this is a call to action.
Get to work.
How do you fuck a Titan?
Figure it out and write it down. Okay?
Yes. For science.
If you felt the spirit move you, I need it to move you to archiveofourown.org. Okay? And I need you to post it because I am in there, I am looking, and I am 2,800 words into my own contribution. So, like, be ready for that, okay? Part of the reason I was so late on the notes, I told Brian while you were taking a break, Alice, is because I did pause in the middle of preparing the notes to write about almost 3,000 words of fanfic just real quick. Anyway.
Microdosing.
Yeah, I'm microdosing.
I feel so normal every time I show up to this podcast.
And Alice is currently sitting on cam in front of 3 IKEA Calyx bookcases full of Yuri and anime figures. But she is the most normal of us.
So normal.
Thanks for listening. Pilots, remember you can reach out for advice from the team at our email, questions@osgpod.com, and non-pilots can send general questions or feedback to the same address. You can catch up with us on social media. The links are in the description for updates and more. You'll also find a link to the show Discord there. Come hang out. Make sure to check back in 2 weeks when the spring of yaoi continues. We will finally be discussing Bang Brave, Bang Braver. Until then, goodbye. I love you.
Goodbye, pilots. I love you.
Goodbye. I'm 50% in love with you.
Ah, yes!